For those of you that have watched my videos in the past, this one's just going to seem completely off the beaten path. Actually, I expect some people that have watched my videos for my tech content might even unsubscribe after seeing this in their feeds, but that's okay. This is a video that I've been wanting to make for a long time. In front of me is an old Panasonic portable radio from the early 1970s. It's called the RF-1060c. Yeah, they weren't that great at naming things back then either. The years have not been kind to this little radio. Its plastic is worn and gouged, the aluminum plates are scratched and carved up in certain places, and the battery compartment looks like it held the same batteries from 1970 until sometime in the last few years. Despite the years of neglect, this piece of tech from over 50 years ago is a survivor. I had to flick on the power switch with a screwdriver since the knob had long since disappeared, but as soon as I did, it whirred to life.
The Rock of the Rock, Oz FM.
All of the buttons worked and it picked up all three signals, AM, FM, and even PSB, which for those that don't know, since it's not really common anymore, stands for Public Service Broadcast.
Tuesday night, maximum air quality health index 2 or low risk. Wednesday, maximum air quality health index 2 or low risk.
So why am I bothering with this 50-year-old radio? I can listen to any radio station anywhere in the world through an app on my phone these days. And that's kind of a complicated question to answer. I've never really done anything like this before, and part of me just wants to challenge myself with a new and interesting project where attention to detail and creative problem solving is required. But I think there's something a bit deeper than that involved. For the past 6 or 7 years, I've been shooting videos about brand new tech devices, phones, tablets, computers, and everything in between. And while I did enjoy it and it did allow me to make a living and work with a lot of really cool companies, there was always this little nagging thought in the back of my head that I was feeding into this societal trend of always having the newest, best thing. Every year for the last 5 years at least, I've bought a new iPhone. I've bought the new Samsung Galaxy phones. I've bought the newest AirPods or the Pixel Buds or the Sony WH series headphones with a string of numbers after it. I used them, I tested them, and I shared my thoughts with you guys. I've always tried to think of that as doing a bit of a public service. I bought these things and I share my thoughts with you so that you can make an informed decision when you go to buy them. But as much as I've repeated myself in saying, if you have an iPhone 15 already, you don't need to go buy an iPhone 16 this year, I know there's some hypocrisy there. Look, I'm buying them every year, so why should I expect anyone else to do any differently? We as tech creators are flooding your algorithms with content about these products. You watch one video about a device that you find mildly interesting, and then you see another video pop up on your timeline that's about a tech product that interests you a little bit more, and then another one, and another. And pretty soon your entire YouTube timeline is full of videos about that product. Everywhere you look, it's in your face. It's not surprising that so many of us are buying products that we don't really need and oftentimes don't even truly want. So if nothing else, let this video be your palate cleanser, because I think that's what it is for me. It's a way for me to say, hey, look at this piece of tech history that survived for over 50 years and still performs the function it was built for without skipping a beat. Isn't that cool? Doesn't that deserve to be respected and admired? While the tech of today is far more sophisticated, there were engineers out there that spent long hours designing this back in 1970. Some electrical engineer designed the PCB, a product design engineer sculpted the outer casing, there were probably some audio specialists that crafted the sound signature of it. The fact that this old radio still functions is a testament to their hard work. When was the last time you bought a tech product that lasted 10 years, let alone 50? Sure, I probably could have bought one of these off of eBay in like new condition for less than $100 and I wouldn't have to spend any time on it. But that's missing the point. I have this one already and all it needs is a little bit of TLC to make it look new again. We've grown kind of accustomed to the idea of just throwing things out or recycling them when they start to look old and worn down or they don't function like they used to anymore. And for some things, that's totally fine. I'm not suggesting it's worth it to spend 6 hours repairing a shattered drinking glass with super glue when you can buy a new one for a few bucks. But things like this old radio, which were crafted through countless hours of human ingenuity and using precious resources, they deserve our respect. They remind us of the care and consideration that was poured into creating something that was meant to last. Even if this radio is destined to sit upon a shelf somewhere, rarely used for its intended purpose anymore, I still think it's worth it to put the time in to restore it. And look, I'm probably not the best guy to be doing this sort of restoration work. I am very inexperienced when it comes to this sort of stuff, and I made a lot of mistakes over the course of this 15 to 20 hour restoration project. For example, when I was sanding down the surface of this tuning knob to try and get rid of all the little dents and scratches in it, I accidentally went all the way through the thin aluminum surface. A little bit of some silver paint and clear coat covered up my mistake, but it's still there and it's noticeable if you look for it. I also tried about 300 different ways to make new labels, but in the end, I couldn't get any of them to look like the factory etched black and silver aluminum. I think in the future, I'm gonna try and source better looking labels from a non-working radio, but for now, I'll just have to deal with these worn ones. Mistakes and blemishes aside, there's still a healthy amount of pride in what I'm doing here. I might not be able to fully restore it to a factory new quality, but I can give it a new lease on life, and that's good enough for me. To be honest, I found this entire process almost cathartic in a way. It's been frustrating and irksome at times too, but mostly just relaxing. I would recommend it to anyone. It's a great way to flex your creative muscles without spending too much money, and you get to preserve a piece of history at the same time. I hope you've enjoyed this video and my little rant, but I'm not going to tell you to subscribe because I don't think that this is going to become my regular type of content on this channel. It's just a little respite from the fast-paced, exciting new tech that I usually feature here. This restoration is by no means perfect, but it really does mean a lot to me, and I hope at least some of that comes through in this video.